So I'm jumping straight into this. If you're new here, I'm making a comic book called The Raven. It's a Noir style, kind of creepy suspense thriller, and I'm on page 20 of 24 pages. So I've got pretty much the sketching down, pretty much done, but I'm going to go back through once it's all done and refine everything. I just wanted to get the idea down first and make sure I was happy with where it was going, and then I can go back and refine some of the drawings that, especially in some of the really impactful scenes or panels. Cat fur all over my pop filter. Anyway, okay, so this says, I mean, I'm sure you can read it. Character suddenly notices a raven in the window, startling them. So I was going to do kind of an over, in my head anyway, a while back, I had thought I would do like an over-the-shoulder shot for her looking out the window and just keep the continuity of the window. So really the raven is just going to kind of pop in because, you know, birds, they look at you, the side of their sort of side eye you when they look at you. So it's probably a bit cheap, but I'm going to use this same drawing that I did of him, only because, I mean, that's what he looks like. So, you know, there's a few times maybe like he'll fly towards the screen or something like that, but for the most part, this is how he looks at her. Or, I mean, that's how he looks at the victims. I mean, I don't know what else to describe them as. Let me see. He's in here somewhere. Oh, okay. I see what happened. He's a part of this layer. I was like, I thought it looked like he was a part of the frame. No. All right, so I'm going to just borrow this guy here on this drawing of him. I don't need the whole thing because he's going to kind of land on her windowsill and she's not going to see his whole structure necessarily. She's just going to see kind of like the top of his body, something like this. And he should be over here somewhere. Let me find him. Where you at? There he is. Okay, so he's going to land on the windowsill, and he's going to face her the other way. Like a soul. And I actually planned on making this black and white, and I don't think I remembered that when I was doing some of these other scenes, but also, I don't know if people realize just how big ravens really are, that they're really big birds. So when he lands on her window, I think, well, no. I just realized I actually think I do need more of his body than that. I think I'm just going to grab somewhere right there, just in case. Yeah, that should be better. Flip that around real quick. Yo. Again, this is going to be in the window, so her window is sort of like a more modern style window. And if you know anything about old school windows, like jealousy windows and things like that, that's what I mean. It's not one of those. So I'm going to get rid of some of this stuff. I didn't mean to background. I got to draw all over that anyway, so it doesn't really matter. But so for here, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to outline this, and then I'm going to invert and delete it. Just talking through what I'm doing. Let me see if I can. Something like that. Invert the selection and then delete it, and then we're left with everything inside of him. I'll say this is the side of her house, the corner of her house. We don't need this. I tend to lift up my brush whenever I'm, you know, my pen or whatever, because old school, man, when you want to undo something and you're like, oh, now I got to undo the whole thing I just did, and you only want to undo one little stroke or something. So I try to remind myself to do that. Even to this day, I'll still forget. I think that nib might be needing replaced. Whatever. I also tend to draw on the side of my pen, so I don't draw straight down. I don't think anybody does. Do you? You draw straight down? It's weird. I was kidding. However you draw, it's fine. I can't imagine doing that. All right, so was going to save this guy, and if it doesn't crash the whole damn program, okay, close, don't save that. Okay, let's clear this stuff. It's kind of funny, you get used to looking at the drawings without ink on it, so to speak. I know it's digital, but I still think of it as ink because I'm old school. It's ink to me. You know, you pencil, then you ink and color and all that stuff. And I don't know. I think it used to feel like it transformed the drawing quite a bit. And now I've gotten to the point where it doesn't seem to do that anymore. At least not in my perspective. I mean, maybe to somebody else, but I've kind of gotten used to the transformation of from pencil to ink kind of thing, because the penciling is like, you know, it's looser and not as refined, especially at first. All right, so she's going to notice him, and then I'm going to use a really close, super close of his eye, like, oops, let's not destroy the Raven. All right, I'm going to close that, and I left him black because he's from the cover, and so I have some other versions of him too. It's not like I just copied just that, but I wanted to have him fly off and all that stuff. But wherever I can save time drawing is good with me. It's not cheating if you're copying yourself, is it? I don't think so. Ah, crap. Okay. So this drawing basically is not going to be much, because it's just going to be her kind of over her shoulder. Maybe a 3/4 angle, sort of like from the back of her head to the side of her ear or something like that, where she's just kind of startled and like looking up at the bird, because I don't know about you, but if a bird just popped in my window like that in the middle of the night, it might trip me out too. Let's see her. Something along these lines. I don't even know. Yeah, that's way thin though. This one might end up being sort of more like a finished drawing because there's not much to it, like I said. She'll probably be sketched, but like this. Like I said, to get an idea how big they are, they're big animals. I don't know why. Oh, he's over. You know what I'm thinking. He's over top of that. All right. Let's see here. So he's going to land on the top of her windowsill. And a 3x5 window is pretty common in most houses. Like in this room, our bedroom, it's a 3x5 or 3 feet by 5 feet. I don't know what that is in meters. I don't know. Oh, probably a meter or so in width. Close to that, right? I don't know. My friend from the UK would like to probably smack me for that. I can't remember. I'm good with millimeters and like milliliters, things like that, because science. But meters, like in concept of science, I get it, but like just to visualize how wide a meter is, I don't know. I'm terrible at that. I think the average building or like the inside of a house or something is like 3 meters ish, something like that. I don't know. If you need meters, don't ask me. I don't know. That's beside the point. I don't know why I told you that, but I did. My apologies. All right, I just want to get this guy. Let's see. Didn't I not put that on a separate layer? Yeah, I did. All right, I'm just going to copy this window frame layer and pull it down. So his feet are going to be kind of on the window sash itself, like on the outside of a window. Operators go up and down. So on this one, yeah, on the inside of a window, that'd be kind of interesting for him to be standing there. Now that I'm thinking about it, I lied. Let me back this up a second. So this would be, yeah, that's right. Okay, he's going to stand on On the outside would be like a ledge on the window. Now that I'm thinking about the sash is on the inside of the window, that's never mind that. It's the sash is the operating part of the window that you slide up and down, and I don't know why I was thinking about him being able to stand on the outside like that, but you potentially could, I guess. I mean, I guess there would be enough. I don't know. It doesn't matter. I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to have him standing on the ledge of a window. You can think of it however you want to think of it. So let's move. Oh, I don't need this. I don't need it in my life. So for this one, I'm just going to slide this. I'm going to kind of like frame the window frame a little tighter into the panel because it's a camera, right? That should be more centered. Well, that's how I want to do it anyway. So, yeah, okay. This will be like sort of the bottom of the window. So for her, I'm going to lock that. She would be above this. I'm going to draw, if I can remember what she looks like. Let me pull her back up just so I can refresh my memory. Where did she go? Yeah, she just got a little bob haircut. Just over the shoulder. Yeah. Just like a lip pixie haircut, basically. So we're gonna go. I'm gonna draw her. Oh, whoops! I need my pencil color. Why is this so small? I don't know. I was drawing an animatic for a music video on my music channel. And if you don't know what that is, my music channel is under Ricky Ray Dubs. It is Ray Wellman Music. I do music. 'Cause reasons. Music is my jazam, boy. That's my thing. I don't know why I'm not drawing very well right now. Hold on. Let me warm up a little. Okay. That's going to have to work for right now. Nah, that's boo-boo. I don't like it. Let's go like this. Okay, that's better. So over her shoulder, maybe here, you're going to have her... Yeah. I mean, I'm talking like you're just going to see her nose. You know, you don't really see much else. Like just starting to see her eye, like just the indentation of the brow, that kind of thing. And so, I mean, you're barely going to see much of anything on her face. And then her hair comes down and the side of her ear. Let's just do, you know, so she's looking up like this. The backside is her ear. So she's kind of looking up towards from what she's doing. She's a little low, honestly. Should bring her up more because she's going to be standing in front. I'm going to have her kind of small, but for her to be like, you know, like jumping back, looking at this bird. Let me move him a little further over so that it's more like over the shoulder kind of effect. Yeah. Sometimes drawing over the shoulder like this, when I do it, I don't like the way it looks sometimes, but then other times I'm like, it looks pretty good. You just have to think about the anatomy of a human face. She's a little high on the brow there. So let me pull, oops. That is on the wrong layer. Okay. So the cool thing about using this method for drawing is that your ear, this is, if you don't know, this is Why am I blanking? It's a construction form of drawing. I cannot think of the person's name right now. It's driving me crazy. My brain is not working. So anyway, you draw the Loomis method. Jeez. Anyway, the idea is that if you draw this big old fat circle on the side of someone's head, her head's a little big for what I did, and I'll adjust it, but you draw this big circle and like a little target because the jawline comes across here, and then the eye line, or the eyebrow line, so to speak, comes basically to the top of your ear to, like, if I'm looking right at you, top of your ear to your eyebrow on average. And it kind of helps you to keep an idea of where the eyebrow should be versus, and then of course the bridge of your nose, right here in the middle is where that triangle I'm drawing for her nose starts. So her eyebrow line should be above it. And this is a little off. It doesn't have to be perfect either. I mean, it's as long as you're close, but that's just a guidance. So when you do something like this, it starts to look more like a person from that quarter angle. And a quarter angle is obviously, it's not a very easy thing to draw. Let's see. I got this on the wrong. I do stuff like that. This is why I lock layers, because I don't like to have stuff on multiple layers. I don't mean to do that. So then we can merge these down. Okay. Oh God, my back has been hurting drawing lately. And then of course your impression of your ear helps to have the pencil. I draw impressions of ears, not necessarily exactly what they look like. And you have the one part of your cartilage that folds over and connects to this piece, and it comes over, kind of fades out. And then the other piece that they usually draw comes in here. And then of course you have that sort of upward, kind of like that. But I don't draw all that usually, something like that. And then that, I mean, if you get really detailed, you can have this connect back in and do all that kind of stuff. But I like kind of the manga style ear, where it's kind of quick. I just look for efficiency. So I'm more about trying to tell a story. I don't want to spend hours upon hours trying to draw exactly everything perfectly correct. Actually, let me clean this ear up a little bit. I say that, but there's a little dip down here, and then this part of your ear, and then this folds out sort of like this. I'm not drawing very well, I don't know. And then, like I said, that comes sort of out and fades a little, and then there's that little section here that comes back in sort of like this. Whoops. And then you have that piece that connects inside of that, like where it folds in sort of like this. That's usually good enough for what I do. Even that is fine. Like, I don't necessarily have to do that sort of piece that goes sort of upward. If you're facing forward, it kind of, I did it the wrong way. Kind of does this. I don't always really draw that because just usually that's enough. It's just an impression of an ear. It doesn't exactly have to be that. I mean, if you really wanted to get into it, the ear has the, you could go from the side and really go into it like that, but I don't know. That's just how I do it. Also, I'm trying to stay cognizant of which direction her head is. And this isn't meant to be a how-to, by the way. This is just how I do it. And you do what you want. Something along them lines. And like I said, that part comes up, and then this part branches off of it. So it branches off of it. So usually what you'll see a lot of times in manga is like that. Which to me, that's, like I said, it's pretty good. I think, yeah. And then sort of like this for the way that the cartilage bunches in. Something like that. I don't know. I ain't perfect. Yeah, that's about right. I'm feeling my ear because I'm trying to make sure I'm not losing my mind. Yeah, and then you have that fold over here behind the cartilage. It sort of does this. Yeah. I go back and forth on how I like to approach it. You know, something like that. It kind of folds into here and comes out and over the top. It's better than the way I used to draw them. I didn't really draw them with that much detail. Plus, again, with all these like scribbly lines I have, I'm gonna clean all this stuff up. So, and also the back of the ear tends to not be as round as that. Kind of does one of those. Do as I say, not as I do. Now, if you really want it to look like an ear, you can take the time to search. What's the word I'm looking for? References. Yeah, because like this will hook back in, and then this folds over the top. I don't know. I don't think it's that big of a deal, but whatever. What do I know? She's got like a little pencil thin eyebrow line, and then she's got her crazy pixie hair. Now she doesn't have sideburns, so I'm just gonna give her the crazy sort of like the boyish haircut that she has. It's a pixie haircut, kind of just a simple kind of rounded hair. So that should pretty much do for that. I was trying to explain to you how I go about doing stuff, and it's just like I'm not doing a very good job. No. Oh, and yeah, see, there's a whole panel that I'm not drawing of her, and I'm thinking this is the gutter, and it's not. Oh well, all right then. So let's go ahead and do this, because she's supposed to be petite, so I'm gonna round her off a little, and her shoulder, her elbow, maybe her hand. Well, it's a little big because I'm gonna have her being like, you know, shocked a little bit. Elbow comes in, that coming down, this comes over. I'm trying to think of how to connect this better. And so she's going to kind of have her, I mean, not knock my speaker on the floor. She's going to kind of have her hand bent backwards because she's kind of in shock. Connective tissue there. And that's a little, might be a little big. She's kind of dainty, so her hands are going to be small, and but just kind of wide. Yeah, she's kind of in shock, like I said, because a bird just flew into her window, made her jump, especially for the story she just heard. So there we go. Yeah, don't listen to me on how to, man. I wasn't really trying to make that a how to. I'm just trying to talk through my process, and sometimes I just don't. I don't know. Sometimes it clicks. Sometimes I'm just struggling. I think I do better when I don't say a word, to be honest with you. I don't honestly talk very much when I draw. I'm not loving the way that looks. Let's do, because her hand is kind of like this, so it's a little sharper than what I was envisioning. Yeah. Okay. It's a little off. Hang on. So she's doing this. God. Her this part of her connective tissue should be a little more rounded than that. Yeah. I'm just referring to the part of your hand here, the meat of your thumb and your finger. It's almost like web, you know, this right here. So it curves quite a bit. And if you're doing what she's doing right now, and she's like this, it looks, I don't know if you can see that, but it looks kind of sharp, like I'm drawing. And I'm, again, just doing it based on how I imagine she would be. Her wrist is a little too twisted here, though. Well, I mean, it's possible her wrist could be like that, but that's a bit awkward to do, so. Yeah, I just need to make it a little bigger because context. The screen is not exactly big. It's this is a 15.6 inch, kind of like a laptop screen. So it's kind of hard to see everything at one time sometimes, especially considering the size of these panels would be in real life. So anyway, enough excuses. Get to work. So I'm going to make this guy real big like. There, she's startled. And she's like, holy crap. The bird scared the crap out of me. I still don't remember. I gotta see, I gotta open up another panel of hers. It's been a few days since I did this, so I don't remember what she's supposed to be wearing. Okay, she's wearing like a belt or something. I just threw that on there. Okay. So she's wearing, or it's like the bottom of her shirt. I'm not really sure what I was going for there. And I think she's wearing a, yeah, she's wearing like a, you know, I don't know how else to describe it, but a female style shirt, because they, for whatever reason, they make these shirts for women very short sleeved. I've never understood why. Maybe my wife can tell me why, but I don't know. And I think most women complain about it too. I'm like, well, why don't you just wear a dude's shirt then? Get a guy's shirt. Nobody cares. All right. I'm going to clean this up a bit. You're not going to see her chest from this angle. She's going to have this, like I said, this little shirt that she's wearing. It's got like a little, yeah, that'll work. This can actually stay here for her seam of her shirt. So I'm just going to kind of do that. Oops. Yeah, that works. And yeah, you can't really see her other hand necessarily. And she was in front of the sink, so I think she was washing dishes. So I'm going to do that. And put that subway tile on here still. So she'll have, well, she should have yeah, she should have a ledge for her window. And you're not gonna be able to see that part of it, so I can give the impression of subway tile. Hang on, what am I doing? Let's go a little bit further out this way. I guess it's not too hard to do for this because there's not a lot to draw here. So I'm just gonna do sort of like the sink in front of her. And Yeah, this would be about the sink, about at her waist, more or less. So, sorry, I'm just thinking how I want to do this. All right, let's just do a basic sink. Like, she's gonna have the knob. Actually, she's gonna have one of those, kind of like ours, I guess. She has a single faucet that controls the water and the temperature and everything. Right, so depending on which way you turn it and all that good stuff. So that'll do it. I don't have to be all kinds of fancy. Ours actually has a sprayer and everything built into it. It's pretty cool. It's like a sprayer comes off the top. It's all fancy. But actually, you know what? I'll just do it like that. That's cool. I just accidentally did that. There we go. There's our little faucet. And then, so that's built into the top here. And then, sorry, I keep hitting this mic. So that's the sink. She got this huge basin, like a farm sink. So I'm going to do that. And I think that's good for this panel. Also, this is going to be jet black out here. Like, like acting like I'm going to move my screen around with my hand. She's going to, yeah, this in the window, it's really going to be jet black. And then, oh, I missed something. Look at that. So that pretty much covers it, I think. Yeah, like I said, this wasn't a how-to. I draw ears differently every time, and is what it is. It don't have to be perfect, man. Just get it to where you're telling your story and you're happy with it. And you should be good. It's your story. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna have her flexing a little bit, so she's kind of like really tense. And does she have a collar? No, she just got like this little round sleeve thing on. One of the things I always try to remember too is like when you're making clothing and stuff, just overshoot a little bit of your character. Add a little roundness to it. It'll give a little bit of depth. Kind of like that. Because, you know, their arm is, unless they're plastered on with spandex, they're not gonna, their shirt's not gonna stay on them perfectly tight like that. So just try to do that. Just keep the wears. That should do her. Oh, I realized I was doing her back this way, and this is more like on the front side of her shirt. Kind of like our shoulders were up was kind of what I was going for. Let's see. But then it's kind of at an angle this way, so really it would make more sense if her neckline is like here, kind of. Just based on how her shirt is in the other picture from the other panels. And then really her shirt should kind of be like that, because her, you know, her trap, as it were, this is in the wrong spot actually with this. Her trapezius is in the backside here. I mean, you can make an impression of it, but she's small, so I didn't want to do that. That's really where that muscle should be. Her neck's okay, right? It's not too big, I don't think. Trying to give her a monstrous neck, you know. think about like where the base of the skull is, where the cerebellum lies, and all that kind of stuff. And I try to remember that when I'm drawing, because then, you know, it kind of keeps me in line and I'm not drawing her too thick or whatever. Yeah, I do kind of want her to look stiff as well. Like, she just got startled. That should do. And of course, you know, come back through and erase the things. It's just meant to be a placeholder. So I think that's going to do it for this one. I know it's one panel. I'm just doing one panel at a time, making sure I get things done a little at a time. Hopefully that was somewhat useful or fun to watch or whatever. This helps me to stay focused. So, and, you know, try to enterprise kind of thing. I just want to get this panel done. I'm going to get this comic book done, share it with the world, see if you guys like it or if anybody likes it. If not, at least I did it, you know? I could always use it for music videos and stuff too. I think that'll work. If I can't figure anything else, if nobody else does anything with it, I'll slap it on my music channel. So either way, it's a win-win. Yeah, so thanks for watching, and hopefully I'll catch you on the next one.